Since you are here, you are probably wondering if you should buy the PlayStation VR1 headset. The same question that I was asking myself a few weeks ago, trying to decide whether buying the PSVR is a wise decision or wasted money, since the new and improved VR headsets like PSVR2, Quest3 and Vision Pro are out and about making waves in the VR world. I'm Max from LifeHackerMax and I bought the PSVR now in 2024 as the first VR headset. The PSVR? I have to say it's pretty interesting. And I'm very excited to share my experience because despite being an 8-year-old VR headset, I believe it is still a relevant choice for all the PS4, PS4 Pro and even PS5 users to this day. I am here to tell you exactly why I think this old headset still makes sense in 2024. This is not a comparison video since I haven't tried any VR headsets other than the cardboard glasses that I can tell you are obsolete in this day of age. The first VR experience is not about the quality of the game, the resolution and all that. In my opinion, it is more about the experience itself, the immersion in the VR world and figuring out if VR is for you or not. And I have to tell you, playing games in VR it's something else entirely. And there is no way of describing the feeling. The only way to understand what VR is about is to try it on for yourself. And if you already decided to go ahead and give it a try, you probably know that the whole VR experience isn't cheap. And there is no doubt in my mind that with the rapid technological advancements, every new VR headset comes with new improvements. Better graphics, better haptics, better controls, ease of connectivity and better experience altogether. But also steeper prices. And if you have the money, you already own a PS5 and have some experience with virtual reality, the PSVR 2 would probably be a great choice. However, if you never had any experience with the VR world or you are not sure whether to invest 500 euros in a VR headset, the PSVR could still be a great starting point. You can figure out if VR is for you or not without paying a ton of money on something that might end up not being used. I chose to buy this PSVR headset for a few reasons. Because we still use the PS4, which still works amazingly to this day, the PSVR was the first compatible option to a VR headset without upgrading to the newer PS5 console. There was the Quest 2 as a second option on a budget, but as PlayStation gamers, me and the kids were more enthusiastic to give the first VR experience a go on the PlayStation platform rather than the Quest. Bought used, the PSVR system is very affordable. I paid 140 euros for the headset, camera and 2 Move controllers, in comparison with 500 euros, which is the price point of the PSVR 2 at the moment, and the seller said he used it for less than 10 hours before deciding to sell it. I'm guessing the VR is not for everyone. Which brings me to the third reason. Before spending absurd amounts of money on a new and expensive gadget, it made sense to buy the cheapest version first, just to see if VR is for us or not. Experience that motion sickness that everyone is talking about. Another reason was the compatibility. The PSVR is compatible with the PS4, PS4 Pro and even the PlayStation 5, which we don't have yet. But if we decide to get the PS5 in the future, the PSVR is still compatible with it and we will be able to use it with the newer console. So if you own a PS4 or a PS4 Pro, the PSVR is the only option you have unless you are willing to upgrade to the newer PS5. Not to mention the large library of games that can be played on this headset. PlayStation 4 and PSVR still have lots of games that you can play and enjoy. A short search in the PlayStation shop shows more than 500 titles that are PSVR compatible on the PlayStation 4 platform, and some of them haven't made the transition to PSVR 2, which means you can only play them on the older VR headset. And this might just be me. But I love buying old stuff because if they break or go obsolete, I get to open them up and see what makes them tick without feeling guilty about throwing money out the window. And if I figure out a way to fix them, I get to make a tutorial out of it for you guys. So that is a win for everybody. Let's not forget about the Blu-ray 3D discs that will allow you to watch 3D movies on your PlayStation 4. I bought this 3D Blu-ray to test it out and wow! It's exactly like being at a cinema in the best seat in the room. Of course, choosing an older version comes with downsides as well. Budget buying can ruin the experience. If you buy a VR headset on the used market, you have to be careful when doing so. Buying refurbished electronics from the second-hand market doesn't come without risks, and you should be very careful if you choose to spend your money this way, as you can end up buying a defective product. As a downside, this headset has a ton of cables that have to be connected through a processing unit to the PlayStation, which makes the cable management difficult and messy. Also, it needs a tracking camera that has to be positioned in a specific way relative to the headset in order to define your position. The newer versions have integrated cameras in the headset, which makes the experience way better. As the technology improves, newer games are optimized for the newer VR headsets and are not compatible with older VR headsets, so you will not be able to play all those new games that are coming out. On the PSVR, the size of the screen projection is limited to 3 options. I use the medium size because the small setting moves the screen with the VR headset and I like the idea that I'm looking at a theater screen. But the medium size is too big, forcing me to move my head a lot in order to see the whole picture. I would love a scalable screen. I don't know about the newer models, but the PSVR headset does have a discomfort factor that makes it unpleasant to use. You sweat a lot, and the lenses need to be cleaned from time to time. In my experience so far, those two factors, the weight of the headset alongside with the motion sickness factor, leaves me feeling tired after 1 or 2 hours of gameplay. And another thing, the resolution is way lower than the newer and more expensive VR headsets. But as I said, for me it's all about the experience rather than the image quality. If you are wondering about the motion sickness, which most users struggle with, I started the first experience with some motion sickness. I had it as well, on some games more than others. Like Eagle Flight, for example, where you see everything through the eyes of an eagle while flying. In comparison with Moss, where you see everything like a tabletop game. Both games offer amazing VR experience, but in different ways. And if you experience motion sickness, I encourage you to try the Moss game before you lay down your headset, never to use it again. Actually, the first thing that I have done, and you should do as well, is to download the PSVR demo discs for free from the PlayStation Store and try the variety of demo games on those digital discs. You can really decide what types of games you like in VR. I tried lots of games both on PS4 and PS4 Pro in order to better understand what VR can offer. And in most games, and this is only my opinion, I found the image quality not that impressive, the games being more oriented on the immersion experience rather than the visual details, like Super Hot, which is a low poly game. But there are games that I found impressive, like Resident Evil 7, Moss and Astro, and experiencing them through the VR headset was amazing for me. Check out the description for a list of games that I tried. I found the VR experience so amazing and unique that I had to share it with my whole family, including my girlfriend as well as my mother and father. I think everyone should experience the VR factor at least once. It is something so unique that cannot be compared to anything. In conclusion, is PSVR trash in 2024? Well, you know what they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. The PSVR is affordable, has a large library of games on the PlayStation platform, PS4 and PS5 compatibility, and it can offer an enjoyable VR experience. With the newer models out there bringing lots of new features and rapidly evolving to new heights, making the PSVR look obsolete for some, I would still recommend the PlayStation VR headset if you have a PS4 or a PS4 Pro, are curious about VR but not sure if it is for you, or if you are looking for something on a budget but still high quality. However, judging from the specs comparison between the PSVR and the PSVR 2, if you are looking for the best resolution and care more about the picture quality than the VR experience itself, maybe it would make more sense for you to invest in a newer VR headset. I'm Max from LifeHackerMax, and if the PSVR 1 made sense for me, it doesn't mean it would be a good choice for you as well. So make your own research before deciding what VR headset to buy. And if you have any questions or want to share your opinion on the subject, feel free to leave me a comment. Thank you for watching. I'm taking a break and I'm gonna try it again.